Our pal Gianni says Benati is in charge at Marseille, so that would make sense. He's from Morocco.
I think there's a heavy Moroccan influence at Marseille just now, so it does make sense, and you can see why there would be an interest there. Yeah,
Aye.
Gianni's actually right for once. It's not often, but so this is quite a special show for Gianni tonight. I'm sure he can be very pleased with himself as he rolls out the next bit of pizza dough tonight. Well done, Gianni.
Mark says any side that pays £50 million for a second choice striker who didn't bang in the goals will be another French club going to the wall. And a couple of people as well. Thomas here, Scott, says, where did you get that price from? Did you just make it up? And a couple of people here saying, Nicky saying he wasn't even first choice. You've got to take 10 million if it's offered.
Listen, see the thing with this, and this is what I was trying to get at, and I'm coming at it from a little bit different than Scott. I don't think Lille have got ahead of the queue here. I think Lille are part of a process. I think Rangers have given permission to Hamza Igamane's agents to go out and take a look at the market, dip your toe in the market, see what you can find. And I think Lille will be one of several clubs that have been spoken to as part of that process. I think Marseille are involved in the process from what I'm hearing. Scott hears as well. Gianni's even heard it. But I think there's interest in England as well. So the point is this: when you're asking about what value do you place on Hamza Igamane, you put a minimum value where you say, right, okay, if we can get to that, then you know what, you tell the agents, if you can bring a bid of around that size to the table, then we're ready to talk business. However, it's like selling your house. If you've got 5 or 6 people all bidding against one another, that's when you start to get silly money. There is the potential with Hamza Igamane for Rangers to get silly money. And I don't mean, I'm not talking about 30 million or anything like that, and nowhere near it. But, you know, what people might consider £10 million might, if there's enough competition and enough people interested, your 10 million could soon edge up towards 15. And if Rangers could get anywhere near that sort of money, I think it's a great bit of business. And I think that money would then go straight back into the kitty, because you've got American owners who cannot possibly be seen. It would be terrible in terms of optics if they come in, sold off an Igamane, sold off Dessers, and didn't reinvest or aren't seen to reinvest that money. That's not a good start. So I would imagine, I think it gives Rangers financial flexibility, and there's so much work required to this squad. I can understand the sense in it. However, some people will turn around and say, what, sell Igamane and Dessers and be left only with Danilo, as we're saying. And yeah, but what does that point to, Daniel? It points to what I've been saying for ages, is that all this stuff should have been getting worked out in the background months and months ago, so that when you get to the start of the window, you've already worked out where Igamane's going.
Got it all lined up.
And you've worked out, right, as soon as that deal, as soon as the ink dries on that, that's targets 1, 2, and 3, and you go and you make your moves. Rangers have got a real job in their hands trying to do all of this, starting point being a week or so ago. This was something that really the irons had to start going into fires a long, long time ago in order for Rangers to be properly ready and prepared for the start of the season, which is why that I've said a few times now, and I know I'm in danger of repeating myself. I think there's a danger that things will have to get a little bit worse for Rangers before they start to improve. I think this is going to be a really difficult summer, a really difficult transition, purely because of the numbers that are involved.
Scott, you can see on the screen there. Sorry, Scott, I was just going to say, Singing the Blues saying combined 20 million for Dessers and Igamane would be pretty good business. Although Safir says you need to build the team around Hamza and Raskin's stupidity selling them. Sorry, Scott.
No, I was just about to say, Jacko's hit the nail on the head there. That's the fascinating thing for me about this, is that, and we have been talking about it for weeks, just how quick this turnaround was going to be for Rangers and how little time they had to get their kind of house in order for the start of the season. If Russell Martin and Kevin Thelwell were coming in and their only job was to kind of get rid of the dead wood at Ibrox and get reinforcements in and build the squad, that's already a massive job, as we've spoken about so often. The fascinating thing is these bids are now coming in for players who I think you would have rather have kept at Ibrox in an ideal world. You know, I've said before, I think we've all said that Dessers, if you had your choice, you would keep. No, you'd still need a number 9 coming in, a better number 9. Ideally, you'd want to keep Dessers and get rid of Danilo. It's the same with Igamane. No, the promise that he showed last season, you would think, right, another year out of him and he'll be a lot better. Raskin's another one that's been talked about, no potential interest in him. Another guy that you would definitely want in your Rangers midfield if you're Russell Martin and want to go and mount a title challenge. So on top of everything that they had to do initially coming in, I'm talking about getting rid of guys like Ben Davies, Kieran Dowell, Robin Proper, all these kind of guys that you think are going to be surplus to requirements. To add this on top of it, where you're actually going to lose guys who you were maybe thinking was going to be part of your plans in the first team and have to replace them like for like, it just makes it, what was a big job initially makes it absolutely massive. And I agree with Jack, I'm now struggling to, you think they've got Max Aarons in so far, if you don't include Lyle Cameron, who's obviously a pre-contract. What are we, 3 weeks away, 3.5 weeks away for the Champions League qualifier. I just don't know how Russell Martin and Thelwell can possibly be expected to completely renovate this Rangers squad and get the required bodies and the required quality in at the start of the season to try and hit the ground running. I think it's going to be really, really difficult. And these bids for people like Igamane and Dessers or interest in Raskin just makes it so much more harder than it might have been.
I tell you what, though, I would say this: if they do get those sort of sales done, if it is Igamane and Dessers out the door, I think it does give them the option, Scott, certainly more financial flexibility to go to Raskin and put an offer on the table to him to extend his contract